What is going on, guys? So for those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Ricky. I used to drive a Mark 7 Golf R, and recently we picked up a new family vehicle that we gave up our Volkswagen for, and it is the 25th anniversary Toyota Sienna. It's a 2023 model. And in my previous videos, I kept talking about all the perks and features of this car and what makes it a good vehicle, what makes it a good minivan. But in today's video, I want to talk about what are the things that we actually don't like about this car. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into it. All right, so here we have the steering wheel, right? Now to start off with, I think the quality of the steering wheel is lacking based on what I'm used to. It's leather wrap, but the leather quality is very rough. It's a tumbled leather. The steering wheel is kind of too thin for my liking. I think, well, the quality is like this. The top spoke at 12 o'clock is the same thing as this fake leather on the shifter, right? And it has some perforated designs on the side and everything to mimic a sportier trim. But on top of that, I think this portion right here on the 3-spoke on the bottom 6 p.m. one, this part is closed off. I'm used to this being open because you could kind of drive, and when you're kind of cruising, you kind of just, I don't know. There's something about this that looks kind of too bland for me. Now, finally, what I don't like about this for the given price point, right, is the fact that it doesn't have a heated steering wheel option. Now, for those of you who don't have a heated steering wheel in all previous cars, including me, you could kind of just say, hey, steering wheel, you just put on gloves, put your hands next to the heater like so, right? But once you have it, it's definitely a plus or must have when you're driving in the code. The thing is, even you have a heated steering option for the Sienna, only the 9 and 3 positions are heated. So not this part and not this part. So I guess, even if we do have it on the 25th anniversary, my complaint would be that it's not going to be 360 heated all around. So there you go. All right. And next is the infotainment system. Now, next on the list would be the infotainment system. Now, here you see that we have kind of like an anti-glare matte cover over the glossy infotainment screen. It's 9 inches. They did improve it from the previous generation, I believe, the XL30, right? I'm gonna go ahead and just start the car for now. But overall, it's still using a really ancient UI, in my opinion. I'm gonna shut the door. Now again, it's using a really old UI system. I think this is based off the 3rd generation. All right, this is the facelifted infotainment, and I think that's one of the drawbacks of having such a high MSRP vehicle and using such a dated system. My main complaint is the fact that you have this older infotainment system. I went ahead and I reached out to Toyota brand management, and they're saying because the Sienna still has this older infotainment system, by default we don't get the 10-year safety connect, the free trial that all the other new Toyotas are getting. And that's the explanation that I got from Toyota brand management. So that's a drawback of the 2023 Siennas, because they're one of the slowest or the last ones to get the brand new infotainment UI overhaul, that the Sienna was left in the dust or forgotten for until I guess the next year, 2024 model year. So for us, we don't get this 10-year safety connect. I did a video in the past about it, and that's a huge bummer, especially if it's a minivan, it's safety for families and everything like that. We should go ahead and have the option for a 10-year safety connect. And just to explain briefly what 10-year safety connect is basically Toyota's version of OnStar. Their call center is open 24/7, I believe. And when you get into an accident, when your car gets into a crash, airbags deploy or whatnot, you could go ahead and hit the SOS button, or they do it automatically and send you emergency help. Now for our next point, Toyota actually touts this super long slide feature that's available on the XLE and above. I believe the LE doesn't have this super long slide feature. If you have an 8-passenger, it doesn't have the long slide. Anyway, so here is the super long slide feature. All right, so this is great. We love this feature so much, right? It really does help out a lot. However, the fact that we have this, I think the second row doesn't fold out. And I think that's a bummer because you could go ahead and free up so much space if the second row seats actually come out versus like the Pacifica with the non-hybrid version, you could go ahead and do stow and go. The Magic seats on the Honda Odyssey comes out as well. Likewise with the Kia Carnival, I believe. You could, all those, don't quote me on the Carnival, but all those second row seats do come out. The Siennas don't. And I guess for now we're okay with it because we're not doing any type of transporting, but it's good to have the option for it. But for you to get the maximum cargo space in this particular minivan, basically you have to just kind of fold this up. These seats kind of, I can't demonstrate this with the car seats right here, but it folds up, it folds forward, and the best way I could demonstrate it is this. So I'm gonna go ahead and push this forward, and once you collapse the seats, the recline folds all the way forward, and that's the most cargo space you could have. It's still a lot. However, you know, it's nice to have a second row that comes out. Okay, so our next gripe would be the spare tire or the lack of spare tire. And here it is. You see this empty space. It's nice to have, like, you know, your diaper bags or your wet wipes and everything like that. But right behind this is a tire inflation kit from Toyota. I'm gonna go ahead and just take this out right here. And here is the tire inflation kit, if you guys could see it. Because we have the front ottomans, the second row ottomans, for the all-wheel drive option, I really don't know why this is the case, but we are unable to add, or the Toyota is unable to give us a spare tire option. If you have a front-wheel drive option and ottomans on the second row, you do have a spare tire option. So spare tire option is very inexpensive for a Toyota add-on, factory add-on, but it's very decently expensive for an aftermarket add-on. So the good news is you could go ahead and retrofit this, which we are planning to do for now. We are holding off on it, but basically you remove this whole trim and you replace this whole trim, and the spare tire goes into here. And based on my understanding, the spare tire option will go ahead and remove one of the cup holders in the front driver's side third row. So instead of 2 cup holders, you get 1, which is a decent trade-off. But here it is. This is the spare tire inflation kit right here that I'm gonna go ahead and just put back right here. And again, well, I'll do it later. Alright guys, so I completely forgot about this one nuisance in my opinion. Then those are the fake wheel covers on the 25th anniversary. I have the 18-inch setup, and these come with the 18-inch bright wheels. And from here you can see I purchased aftermarket wheel covers from a company called Coast to Coast. They're actually from I think the last generation Highlander. And they are also 18 inches, and I'm working on my future project, seeing if this is going to be a plug-and-play situation or solution. But from now, my car is new, and I don't want to really bend the wheel caps, crack it, because that's the funny thing is it's glued on so well that even if you're supposed to like curb rash these plastic wheel covers, it's going to go ahead and basically you're going to have to either, first option is to pry them all off, which I'll probably do if I end up curbing them, or purchase a different set of wheels. But here it is. I think that's one of the Toyota should have just completed the blackout package by giving us the 18-inch owners some black wheels. The 20-inch people get them, right? But stay tuned, I guess, for in the future for this type of project, and we'll see how it goes. But returning back to our normal schedule programming. Now our next point would be the sound or the creaking that the third row makes. Again, I caught this in my last previous video. I'm not quite sure if I could recreate the sound again. Maybe it's because I was initially retracting the seats, but we'll try. It sounds so weird. It sounds so creaky. It sounds very creaky. Something wrong with the car, I don't know. But on a later note, on another note, these trifold mats, long-term review, I love these mats. These are great. All right, so I definitely do recommend you guys getting these. If you guys are on the fence with a cargo cover protector, you could actually get the rear trifold mat and have it perform the same function or almost similar functions as a cargo mat, and also kind of put this up like so. Right, but we're gonna go ahead and retract the seats right now. First option is to pull this. Yeah, it's kind of creaky, huh? It's pretty creaky. And it doesn't really stay in place, right? We'll try this option right here. Oh, well, actually, we have some stuff here, but you guys get the point, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back up again. I don't know, is this normal for like a minivan? I'm not quite sure, but here it is. We're gonna go ahead and retract this like that. Okay, and like that. All right, so now let's go ahead and go handheld for a little bit. Quality-wise, the Toyota is pretty good. It's made here in the U.S., right? But in terms of quality, I think it's on par with Toyota standards. But a little things that I noticed. Well, first, let's go ahead and touch up on these incandescent lights. I'd rather it be LED. That's another thing, right? I have to go ahead and switch up these warm-toned incandescent lighting to LEDs to brighten up the interior at night. But quality-wise, let's go ahead and touch up on this part. I was kind of fiddling with this 1500 watt inverter, and right along here, I grabbed and I kind of cut myself one day, like during the beginning. I'm not quite sure if you guys could see it, but right here, I cut myself. I mean, it was okay, it was like a small cut, but I kind of just filed it so it's more smooth, right? That's one of the things. And walking around the car, another thing that I noticed was, and this is not a tint issue, it wasn't anything like that, but right here, you see this window trim right here is kind of like peeling, right? So I didn't touch it or anything like that, but I don't think it's a big deal, but that's another thing that I noticed. I just left it like that. It can't be from the tint issue because I saw it way before I got the windows tinted, and these tint films are pre-cut from on the computer program, so it's not anything dealing with a third-party company. So, and that's only issue I found with this whole car in terms of a window trim peeling. Now, one big factor. Let me get more light in here. One big factor, driving-wise, that I am not liking is the engine drone. Overall, it's very quiet. I'm not sure if the front of the 25th anniversary has acoustic glass, but in front of the glass, it's Toyota Vitro. So I believe that's UV glass with UV blocking capabilities. I have to go ahead and do more research, but I'm not quite sure if the 25th anniversary has laminated glass or acoustic glass in the windshield. However, driving wise, when the engine's not on, it's very quiet. When under acceleration, this little engine that gets really high, sounds really, really bad on high load, right? And that's one of the things that has been kind of getting to me, right? As a drawback, for sure, but it does go ahead and it's fuel efficient, and that's the only reason why we went for the Sienna, or one of the main reasons why we went for the Sienna, which is the hybrid capability. So, but the engine drone on this, especially when you're merging, especially when you're going uphill, it's just very loud. The good news is, when the engine kicks in, it's very seamless when you're driving, right? But when you're doing a cold start and everything like that, it's very noticeable, right? In the interior anyway, it's really not an engine to write home about in terms of sound for sure. But that's one of the drawbacks, downsides that I don't like. Now I'm going to finish off the few last points. Now these points are just very nitpicky at this moment. All right, I have to admit, but I'm going to have to say it because of the fact that this is a $50,000 MSRP vehicle, and the fact that we're spending so much, investing so much into a vehicle. I think these are must-haves that I think the Toyota should have given or thrown in for the 25th anniversary. One is the 7-inch multi-information display on the front. Now we'll go ahead and start the vehicle again. And this is the XSC with the 4.6-inch center stack, right here. I'd rather have this full 7-inch, right? Next we have the digital rear view mirror option. Sorry about the chimes. I think if you have the rear entertainment system that we have here, I think it's a must, or at least give us an option to include this from factory, right? Instead of having an aftermarket solution that I'm about to go ahead and pursue, I think a digital rear view mirror is a must. Because once you have this folded down, like that, right? How do you actually see what's going on in the rear, right? So right there. So that's a drawback. I think the 360 camera and the head-up display is a nice feature, right? It's a nice feature to have. The 360 camera should be offered as an option, an a la carte option, instead of going for all-out platinum trim, right? Because it's such a big vehicle, it's going to go ahead and help. But call it what you must. These mirrors are a pro and con. They're wide. They're so wide it makes for a span of 93 inches for this width of the vehicle with these folded out. So thank God for these auto retracting mirrors. But pros and cons with this one. This one eliminates kind of all types of blind spots with these huge mirrors, and also these huge mirrors grabs the rear of the vehicle right here. So it shows you the rear exactly so you don't bump into anything or hit anything. But at the same time though, it makes getting into our driveway very, very difficult. So again, nitpicky points at the moment, right? You get a big vehicle, you get big mirrors, etc. Right? But other things are, let's see, the third row sunshade that we see on the limited trim should have kind of came standard, right? With the 25th anniversary, if you're spending that much on the vehicle anyway. That's my opinion, right? And I guess on top of the, in addition to the 1500 watt inverter, probably give us some sort of like 12 volt option in the back as well. And I guess transitioning to the batteries, the battery right here, I'm reading, it's located in the back. I'm reading a lot of warnings to that these 12 volts are actually very weak. And just be careful, because if you leave a couple things running, let's say the rear sensors right here, or the automatic sensors located right here, if you leave it on, especially during a winter, when we got the vehicle it was in winter, and I actually took it off. So I optioned it out, I coded it out for now, or I toggled it off, right? In case, you know, because it's sensing so many things, and it might go ahead and deplete the battery, especially when we're not driving it, and that's our vehicle, that's our case. So I ended up just disabling the auto tailgate in the rear for the motion sensor anyway, not this part. All right, guys, so I think these are all the points that we have. If you guys are in the same situation, or you want to add more to the list or disagree, just leave a comment in the comment section down below. I really do enjoy you guys' comments. Again, the Sienna is one of the best family vehicles that we have so far, and we only had it for 2 months, right? But here are just a quick list of, you know, the features that we don't like, or the things that we don't like about the Sienna. And again, if you guys have anything to add, leave it in the comment section down below. But on that note, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.